Welcome to IELTS Hacker BD. Today's video features a full IELTS listening practice test with all 4 sections, matching the real exam format. Each section has a different speaker and question type. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman arranging a hotel booking. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 10.
Good morning, Riverside Community Sports Center. How can I help you?
I was wondering if you could give me some information about your fitness classes. I've just moved to the area and I'm looking for a way to stay active.
Of course, we have a range of classes depending on your interests and fitness level. Are you looking for something intense or more moderate?
Well, I've been doing yoga regularly, but I'd like to try something new, maybe a group activity.
Great. In that case, you might enjoy our aerobics, Zumba, or spinning classes. Aerobics is the most popular among beginners.
Sounds good. When are these classes held?
Let me see. Aerobics classes are on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Zumba is on Tuesday evenings at 7, and spinning is early morning on Fridays, 6:30 a.m.
Oh, mornings are tough for me. Are there any weekend options?
Yes, we have a Saturday morning boot camp at 9 a.m. and a gentle yoga class on Sunday at 10 a.m.
Okay, do I need to register in advance?
Yes, for most classes we recommend booking at least 24 hours ahead because spaces fill quickly, especially for Zumba.
Got it. How much do the classes cost?
Individual classes are £5 each, but if you sign up for 10 sessions, you get a 15% discount.
Now you have some time to check your answer 1 to 6. Now listen carefully and answer 7 to 10.
That's helpful. And where is the sports center located?
We're just off High Street, next to the community library. There's parking in front if you're driving.
Perfect. And is there a locker room?
Yes, we have full changing facilities, showers, and lockers. Bring your own padlock or buy one at the desk for £3.
Thank you so much. I'll come by tomorrow to have a look.
You're very welcome. We look forward to seeing you.
That's the end of Section 1. You now have some time to check your answers. Now turn to Section 2. Section 2. You will hear a guide giving information about a local museum and its layout. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Westbridge Historical Museum. I'm Paul, and I'll be your guide for this short introductory tour. Before we begin exploring, I'll take just a few minutes to give you an overview of the museum layout and highlight some of our key exhibits. Let's start with our 5 main exhibition rooms, each focused on a different theme. Room A is all about local industry. Here, you'll find original tools, machines, and photographs related to Westbridge's textile and mining history. This room really shows how the town developed in the 1800s. Room B houses natural history exhibits. It includes some amazing fossils and even the reconstructed skeleton of a prehistoric deer discovered nearby. In Room C, you'll find our art gallery, which features local artists from the 19th century right up to the present day. We've just opened a new contemporary sculpture section, which has been very popular. Room D focuses on transport. There's a life-sized replica of a Victorian-era steam engine, as well as interactive displays for children. Finally, Room E contains exhibits about local life, everything from school uniforms and toys from the 1940s to recreated kitchen and living room interiors from different time periods.
Now you have some time to check your answer 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, before we go inside, let me explain the layout of the building so you don't get lost. When you enter the museum from the main entrance, you'll see the reception desk directly in front of you. That's where you can get brochures, audio guides, or book a tour. To your left is the gift shop, which also sells snacks and drinks. It's a nice place to relax after your visit. To the right of reception is the cloakroom, where you can leave bags or coats. And next to the cloakroom is the toilet block, including accessible toilets. From the main lobby, if you walk straight ahead, you'll reach Room A. Room B is to the right of Room A, while Room C is directly opposite Room A. If you continue around the circular corridor, you'll come to Room D on your left, and Room E is just beyond that. At the center of the museum is the lecture hall, where we host weekly talks and film screenings. It's open to the public on Fridays. That's the basic layout. We'll begin our tour now at Room A. Please follow me, and feel free to ask questions as we go along.
Now you have some time to check your answer 16 to 20. Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You will hear a conversation between two students and their tutor discussing a project. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hello Tom, Lisa, good to see you both. I understand you've made progress on your group project about urban transportation.
We've completed the initial research and are now working on structuring our presentation.
Divided the project into 3 parts: historical background, current issues, and potential future solutions.
That's a sensible structure. Let's discuss each part briefly. Lisa, you're doing the historical background, right?
Yes. I've looked into how transportation developed in urban areas, starting with horse-drawn carriages and moving on to trams, buses, and underground systems.
Excellent. Don't forget to mention how car ownership affected public transport.
Yes, I've included that too.
And Tom, you're covering current problems.
Exactly. I've focused on traffic congestion, air pollution, and lack of infrastructure for cycling and walking.
Have you included statistics?
A few, yes. I used a government report from last year that shows how urban traffic has increased by 30% in the past decade.
That's good evidence. And for the solutions?
We're presenting that part together. We'll look at things like congestion charges, public transport incentives, and smart traffic systems.
Sounds like a good balance. Now, let's talk about your individual contributions to the project. I have to assess not just the group work but also your roles.
I handled the design of the presentation slides, and I'm doing most of the speaking.
Did either of you have trouble coordinating?
Not really, although we had to adjust a few deadlines due to workload from other courses.
That's understandable. Have you rehearsed the presentation?
We've done one full practice and planned another tomorrow.
Good. Timing is crucial. Keep it within the 10-minute limit.
It's about 9.5 minutes now.
Perfect. And what about visual aids?
We're using slides with minimal text and some charts, nothing too crowded.
Excellent approach. One final suggestion: try to anticipate questions from the audience and prepare answers.
We've listed a few possible questions at the end of our notes.
That's great. Well, it sounds like you're on track. I'm looking forward to your presentation next week. Let me know if you need further help.
You have 30 seconds to check your answer from 21 to 30. Now turn to Section 4. Section 4. You will hear a university lecture on coral reefs and the threats they face. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Today's lecture focuses on coral reef ecosystems, some of the most diverse and vital natural habitats on Earth, and the multiple threats they face due to both natural and human activity. To begin with, coral reefs are made up of colonies of tiny organisms known as polyps. These creatures extract calcium from seawater to build a hard skeleton, what we know as coral. Over time, they form complex reef structures, which provide shelter to nearly 25% of all marine life, despite occupying less than 1% of the ocean floor. Now, coral reefs offer many benefits. They act as natural barriers against storms, support fisheries, and even assist in medical research. However, they're under serious threat globally. Let's look at the major threats. First on the list is climate change. Rising sea temperatures due to global warming cause coral bleaching. When stressed, coral polyps expel the algae that live inside them, algae that not only give corals their color, but also help feed them. Without the algae, corals lose color and eventually die. Secondly, ocean acidification, another result of excess carbon dioxide, weakens coral skeletons. The acidic water makes it harder for corals to form and maintain their structures. Next is pollution. Agricultural runoff brings harmful chemicals like nitrogen and phosphorus into the water. These stimulate the growth of algae, which can smother coral reefs and block sunlight. In addition, plastic pollution can directly damage reef structures and introduce toxins. Another key issue is overfishing. Removing key species disrupts the balance of reef ecosystems. For example, parrotfish eat algae off corals, keeping them clean. Without them, algae can take over, stifling coral growth. Tourism also poses a threat. Unregulated diving, snorkeling, and boat anchoring often physically damage reefs. Sunscreens containing certain chemicals have also been found to harm coral reproduction and growth. Now let's move on to efforts for conservation and recovery. Marine protected areas, or MPAs, are one method. These are zones where human activity is restricted or closely managed to allow coral ecosystems to regenerate. However, enforcement can be difficult in remote locations. There's also coral farming or coral gardening. Scientists grow coral fragments in underwater nurseries and later transplant them to damaged areas. This method is still experimental but has shown promise. Community involvement is another key. Involving local people in monitoring, educating tourists, and reporting violations improves long-term protection. Finally, technological solutions are being explored. Artificial reefs made of eco-friendly materials are being installed to create new habitats. In addition, underwater robots are being developed to control pests like crown of thorns starfish, which feed on coral. To summarize, coral reefs are critical to marine biodiversity and human livelihoods, but they face a wide range of threats from climate change to tourism. Tackling these requires a mix of policy, science, and public awareness.
That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Make sure all your answers are clear and in the correct spaces. Thank you for taking the test, and best of luck with your IELTS preparation. If you found this test helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, IELTS Hacker BD, for more practice tests, tips, and strategies. See you in the next video.
Mm-hmm.